Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Index Show. I'm your host, Eddie B. It is all four of us. We are back together again to deliver you guys a great episode. Joining me, of course, is the wise Wisconsin, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, guys?
Of course, the streamer champion, the one, the only, the lovely Mr. Ray Apollo.
Hello.
And of course, my seat, my head boss, not only of NGR, Codename NX, and Nintendo Pop Block, and more things, it's the one, the only, making his grand return, Mr. Corey Fury. Yay!
Welcome back.
I'm back. Hello, everybody. It's good to be
so
here.
Happy. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I put on pants this morning. It felt real good.
Oh, that's impressive.
No, well, for people who don't know, I've been away because of work, and then last week was my anniversary, so now I'm back.
Happens.
Yes, and the fact that we record this on Saturday is kind of inconvenient sometimes for some people, but it's okay. We lived, we survived, and now we're here.
Yeah.
I missed all of you.
We missed you too.
Miss you too. So, before we get into housekeeping, we actually was having a discussion about WWE 2K20. I guess the game is out, I'm assuming. I think so. There's been screenshots and stuff. It's getting clowned. Like, people are making so much fun of this game, and the original developers who made the game, they're not doing this year's version. And so I kind of want to ask you guys, and this kind of goes beyond WWE 2K. What happens when a developer leaves a game and a new developer comes into a series, like, and it just doesn't look up to snuff? Like, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, it could go either way. I mean, not that they like took over the series, but you look at Call of Duty and how Infinity Ward used to be like the studio, right? And like you look at them and what happened, and now a lot of that studio went to form Respawn and created Titanfall and Apex Legends and all that stuff, and like now Treyarch is kind of like the lead dog, and every time somebody thinks of Call of Duty now, it's like Treyarch and Black Ops, right? So it could be good or bad. I haven't really been following the WWE stuff. All I've I've seen stuff on Twitter, and it's like, oh, it looks real bad, and like I'm like, oh, okay. Is that different from the other WWE games? I don't really know, because like, I mean, I knew they had a new developer, and I know Ukes is not on the project anymore, and I think Visual Concepts is doing it now, more in-house. So it's a transition year. So I would, look, sports games in general have like a really short timeline in terms of turnaround, and maybe this is that transition year where like, let's just get a game out, and next year will be the game that we're going to be super proud of, but I don't know, man. It's hard when something as big as WWE is like trying to put a game out and it's not what fans want, which from all I've heard, it's like, it's something that fans haven't really wanted in a long time, which is why Ukes isn't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to say, that's the thing is, like, I'm like personally from a person who's loved playing their wrestling games on 64, like, during the 64 era, that was like when wrestling games were probably some of the best games to play, like on console, like just hands down. Like, everyone, even people who didn't like wrestling, played, the wrestling games on 64. And because of how they've basically made it a simulation game now, it's just like they've taken all the fun out of it. Like, it's just not fun to play those games anymore. And so that's why Ukes and like why they had left. And then like they just, and the thing is it's kind of like been like all the like Madden hasn't been that great lately either, but they don't care. They just keep on pumping them out because they know, because it's a Madden game, people still are gonna buy it, whether they put the time in it or not.
And Madden is the only NFL game that people can play.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the same with with FIFA and all, like a lot of those games as well. They just kind of seem to phone it in because they know people are gonna buy it. Like now, from what I heard, like some of the stuff I think in the latest FIFA is better according to people, but the thing is like like the wrestling game for sure, and Madden I think needs something like this to happen as well. But I think like this, like if this game bombs bad enough, I think that will be what they need to start listening to the fans, because that's the problem, is they are not listening to what people want. And like if this bombs bad enough, like I'm hoping that maybe they'll start trying to listen and try to get back on track and make something. But the thing is Ukes, like one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because Ukes is gonna be making the AEW, there's talks about it. About it possibly happening, that they might make a AEW wrestling game, and like go back to the more basic, like fun style of wrestling game. And if that happens, that'll be massive. Like even if people aren't, like super AEW fans, just the fact of like having something that's more like the games that people used to love playing that they made would be a big deal, I think. And just competition for the WWE game in general is what's going to make things, change or try to be better, like, because again, like a lot of those games, they don't have any competition, therefore they don't have to try. When they're trying to make them, they don't have to listen to the fans, because if you want a wrestling game, guess what? You've got to buy our wrestling game. It's just, I mean, there are other wrestling games, but they're, like they're different, a little bit different, not, and they're only on PS4, I think. I don't think you can get it anywhere else.
Well, Ray, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, with stuff like this, I think that they had to put out a game because of, licensing reasons. They probably made an agreement with WWE or whatever that they had to put out a game every year. And even with this change in developer, so they pretty much probably had to rush together to put something together, which sucks, because now you have new people on the team who are not familiar with the assets and how to make the assets work well, anywhere near as well as the last team. And so now you have this problem on your hands. So yeah, I'm sure they're like, yeah, we'll come back and get it next year, but I think it's because they were obligated by contract to put one out this year, even if it was terrible. But I'm of the opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, that wrestling games should have never gone full simulation. It should have always been WWE No Mercy style from the 64 era.
Yeah,
because they're supposed to be goofy and fun, but then we had the
I mean, isn't that like the whole thing of wrestling? Is
that's
like
what I'm saying.
It's goofy and fun. So like, fun. Why?
But I felt like when we got to this generation where I think it was the PS2, PS3 shift generation, that we had everything wanted to look really photorealistic because they could all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Honestly, that took a lot of fun out of a lot of what used to be arcade games. It made them more simulation style.
Right. Because the PS2 was like SmackDown versus Raw, like all that customer creation, those intros, everything about that game was like a fun night to have with friends and everything.
Yeah, and so I feel like we definitely lost that. And they like Jesse said, they got lazy. Because simulation games, you could just reskin and update the roster and out you go.
And you could tell the quality has gone down. Like it's like the quality of the game, the technical problems. 2K trying to blame Switch, the Nintendo Switch, on why that version was bad and everything. And it's just like, no. And Jesse, when you said if this game bombs, 2K can't blame Switch on this one. You can't blame Nintendo on this one. I think the other games, they bombed also because they were bad. Like, they had all of these problems. So it's like, what is 2K going to do to fix this? Because even if they're listening to the fans and everything, and I hope they do, they need to put some development time. Like, now it's to the point where they have to miss a year in order for them to get back on track.
I mean, and it could take more than a year, to be completely honest. It just depends on. If I guarantee they're gonna keep going with the super photorealistic look, and it's like I said, it's a whole new team. They're gonna have to build up that team with new talent who want to work on these games, and hopefully it turns out, because I know a lot of people do like these games. And I could understand why, if you really enjoy this series, that when it looks like this, you're not gonna be real happy about it, especially for the stuff that I've seen and how drastically different it looks.
I need to look this up because
it's drastically different.
You
said
WWE. Before you say something, Jesse, you mentioned the AEW. AEW's been catching on. Like, people are really enjoying this new wrestling company, and like been posting the stuff and not texting, doing a lot of social media stuff on it. So if you get AEW and it works, 2K is going to be in some big problems.
Yeah. Well, and the problem with is, like, with all that wrestling stuff, like, I personally, WWF or WWE, whatever you want to call it, had always kind of been on the bottom of my rankings for most of the time, even during the Attitude Era. Like, I liked characters, and I did watch, during the Attitude Era quite a bit. But, like, for whatever reason, I was always more of a WCW fan. And, like, I used to watch ECW, like, before it came to TNN. I had some friends that I had made through summer school, actually, one year. And I went over to their house a couple of times, and we would watch ECW pay-per-views and stuff, and I, like, fell in love with it, like, right away, because it had all these amazing, wrestlers like Sabu and Rob Van Dam and the Dudley Boys, and like, because their characters were just hilarious. Like, the Dudley Boys used to be part of this big group of guys. You had, like, Big Dick Dudley. You had Little Spike Dudley, also known as LSD. You had, like, Sign Guy Dudley. You had, like, and there's this guy New Jack, who would always bring a shopping cart full of weapons to the ring with him, and he would, like, use, like, staplers on people's heads, and like, it was an insane show. It was so good. But yeah, I just hope that with that show catching on, that I hope this is true, that Ukes is looking to go back to that old school. Because, like, and even, like, to what you were saying, Ray, like, I don't even mind that they're photorealistic looking. It's just that, like, they could have both that and have the, like, the more, arcade style, because it, like, to me it would be almost like a Mortal Kombat, where you've got something that looks very, very realistic, but at the same time doesn't have to be, like, super complex. Like, I think that's the problem, is there's just so much going on, the complexity of, like, the button pushes and things like that when you're playing, that, like, it's gotten to the point of where it just is just too much, and you're not really getting to enjoy it. Like, you can't just pick it up and play it with a friend who doesn't play that anymore. Like, like it, there used to be a game that you could just say, a friend who's never played it comes over and you can figure it out and, pretty quickly how to do stuff. Now it's like a fighting game to me. Like, I don't even know how to play the game. There's just too many things to try to figure out, and it's just not fun anymore. I've for the last couple of years that I've gotten a WWE game, I've basically just got it to create characters, and that's about it.
Are these? I can't tell if these are real screenshots or not.
They are.
So, Corey, I like when I first saw them, because I've like a few other, I would say, like pretty decent sized outlets have picked this up and talked about it. And
well, I'm on Kotaku right now, and they quoted somebody's tweet that's not like verified or anything. So like I was just looking at it, but I'm like, there's like a WWE 2K18 shot of The Rock next to a PS2 screenshot of The Rock from 2003 next to a 2K20 screenshot. Dude, the PS2 one almost looks better than the 2K20 one.
Oh God.
Like I'm not even trying to be like, whatever. It looks like an early PS3 game is what this game looks like.
Yeah.
Pre-production one.
So like I said, I think it's more of a, and this is me not defending this game at all, because I mean I'm not trying to defend any something like I probably will never play the series, but just honestly from my thoughts, I think it's definitely because of they have to uphold a contract.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
So, last but not least, anyone like I think it's Fire Pro Wrestling. I think that's on PS4.
Yeah.
Go play that if you enjoy wrestling games. Go check out some THQ ones from the N64 days. Check out SmackDown on PS2. Like, go play some old wrestling games if you feel it. Heck, Capcom even did a wrestling game with Hagar. If you can find an arcade game with that, I think it's on the arcade classics for PS2. If you can find that, go play that one.
If you got PC, there's like I think I've said this before on the show. There's actually a whole community of people who've taken those original N64 games and they've updated the rosters. They've created like a whole other games of like where it's got like all people from like Japan and people from Mexico, and like it's crazy. There's a crazy scene with those games where people have them on PC, and I believe they're free to download and play. But yeah, these people have taken those original games that everyone loved on N64, and they've updated the rosters and everything. It's pretty crazy.
I love that people still do that though, like update rosters. Like even like the Tecmo Bowl community also does that, and it's just insane that they keep doing that. Yeah, and like they actually had like, because Tecmo Bowl came out before the Jaguars and the Panthers were like real teams or whatever.
Yeah,
and teams have changed their logos and stuff since then. Mm-hmm. And they've gone in and actually made those teams and those uniforms and everything too.
Nice.
It's crazy. It's cool.
Yeah.
Of course, it's all like you have to go through like emulation stuff on PC and stuff to download those rosters and stuff, and go to their like website and stuff. But it's cool. It's really cool to see those people do that stuff.
Well, like I loved back in the day, Quake 2. I used to download skins for that on PC for the Quake games. When those, because when Quake was big, that's when I had started like gaming on PC, and so like that took up a lot of my time. But I remember downloading all these like cool skins for all different like characters that you could put on in the game and stuff. That was so much. I miss that kind of stuff for like that you can do on PC. I wish there was a legal way that you could do it on consoles.
Well, we're gonna get into some housekeeping because we have a great show for you guys.
Oh yeah, I
Welcome
forgot we haven't even started the show yet.
welcome to the Index Show, your source for video game news, analysis, and other shenanigans. You can catch us on twitter.tv/the Index Show or on codenameindex.com live every Saturday at 1 p.m. 10 a.m. Pacific for pre-show, followed by the podcast. If you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head on over to codenameindex.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or your podcast service of choice on Tuesday mornings for a fully edited show to consume. And everybody, we are going to be kind of moving away from the live stuff for a little bit, but we will update you guys at the time. We are.
I mean, it's not that
we're exploring.
Not that hard to explain. It's just that I updated my Mac to Catalina, and OBS doesn't work with Catalina properly. So
from our producer, we are exploring different avenues at this time.
No, it's been a nightmare for like 2 weeks. So
I'm trying to be professional. That we're exploring different avenues at this time. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Index Show, and like the Index Project's Facebook page. If you have any questions, you can tweet at us, look for the questions thread in our Facebook community, or email us at contact@codenameindex.com. We will also be taking live questions in the Twitch and Mixer chat when we go live. Remember, you can find all of our content on codenameindex.com, including all of our videos, old content, review, blogs, live streams, and more. So as we are all gathered together, we all pretty much have done a lot of gaming around. There's been a lot of news. One of the news that I didn't include in the story, but I'm so happy and overjoyed is that Okami 2 is officially happening, and I'm so excited.
Is it officially happening, or are they just talking about it?
No, it's officially happening. They said that it's in the works. They're planning on it and everything. So, and they're getting original creators to work on it. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just happy and elated that this is happening. But we're going to get into our gaming get downs. Fortunately for this time, everybody, we only could do one game since we are running on time. So Corey, I'm going to start with you.
We wouldn't have to be on one game, Ed, if we didn't spend 30 minutes on wrestling. I'm just kidding. It was actually my idea to put that at the top of the show, so I was just kidding. Messing around, just joshing you. I mean, for me, it's just the last week and a half has been Destiny, playing Shadowkeep, and then this week has been all Iron Banner. So,
did you finish the campaign for Shadowkeep?
Nope, sure didn't. Not yet. I played 2 nights of the campaign. Well, here's the thing what happened. Okay, I started playing the campaign by myself, and then the next night, I wanted to continue the campaign with my one friend, my friend Mitch, and then my cousin Michael bought Shadowkeep and didn't start the campaign yet, so I had to replay the parts that I already played with them. So that was good. That was a good time. So, yeah, so I've been enjoying myself with Destiny. I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting, but it's more Destiny with a lot of changes that they do every time a big expansion comes out. And they redid the way the quest stuff is in your quests, I guess. And the menu system always throws me off when I'm away from it for a while, and then I come back and they make 2 or 3 small changes that just you have to sit there and look at it and be like, oh, I pressed the wrong button again. Because they the last update, they moved your quests and your milestones and stuff to the select button instead of the start button, and that still throws me off. I mean, it's not a bad change or anything. It just throws me off when I press one button and I'm like, oh, I meant to press the other button. But I've also been enjoying Iron Banner. I think the armor looks cool this time around. But there's nothing really much to say. I think I like the moon. I like the way the moon looks. it's a real nice mix of nostalgia and new stuff. Like you go to places and you're like, oh, I remember this, but they like maybe put some tunnels in that you haven't been in before, or back where this one public event always happens, they added like a crashed ship that you can go down into and explore some tunnels down that way. And then I'm like, oh, this is new and different. And I do like the way that they've added stuff to the moon, and it's cool. I'm enjoying it. So, but other than that, nothing else really to talk about, I guess. So I haven't really played a lot of games in the last couple of weeks, to be 100% honest. So except for with Jesse, we were playing Gears, but I'll let Jesse talk about what he wants to talk about.
So Ray, what game have you got down to like this week? Or
Well, a few. I can just run down the list. I'm not gonna talk about them, but I've been playing BioShock for the first time. Love it. I got a copy of Mistover from the developer, and I really love it. It's anime Darkest Dungeon, and it's perfect for me.
I seen you mention something about that you got a
Mhm.
copy of a game, but I didn't see what the title was.
Yeah, it's Mistover or Mistover. It's a name that I still am not really entirely sure about. But yeah, it's basically, to me, Darkest Dungeon, but with an anime style and flair that I absolutely adore. It's great. So you explore dungeons with the characters, and it's definitely, when they die, and you have to recruit new characters. It's good. I enjoy it.
Okay.
Let's see. Then I went back to Remnant from the Ashes. I'm really enjoying that as well. A lot more fun with people than by myself.
Yeah.
And then more Mario Maker.
Thanks
More Mario
for
Maker.
reminding me. I need to add that to my list of
Remnant.
yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like it's a lot of fun. And they've updated it a bit, and it just plays so much better.
I wonder if they did the update for console also.
I wonder, because I'm playing on PC, and
Well,
it plays really well.
I played on console. It still felt the same. I mean, I never had any issues with it running bad on console, but I don't know.
But no, it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of fun stuff. And I'm still playing Indivisible, by the way. RPG. I got a copy of that game as well from the publisher, and there's a lot of good games this year. A lot. Like, there's not a lot of huge AAA stuff that's like blowing everybody's minds, but I feel like the smaller stuff is super good this year.
Yeah.
I can rephrase that for you. There's a lot of Nintendo stuff that's blowing people's mind, and everybody's not talking about a lot of the AAA third-party stuff.
I'm not gonna say Nintendo's been blowing minds, but they've been doing really well.
By the looks of it, Nintendo's been killing it since probably, I would say May or June.
I'd say since March of 2017, they've been having a good run.
Oh yeah,
I would say that as well.
Yeah.
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 Jesse, what have you been getting down to?
Yeah, so I've been playing quite a few things. Like, I'll just kind of, so like, if you want to see like what they look like, just head over to my my mixer. I do in my previous streams or whatever, there should be a video called Game Pass Plays, I think I just labeled it. And I just picked three like smaller games on Game Pass and played a little bit of them just to kind of give people a little look at what they look like. I played River Bond, Blazing Chrome, and then the other one was the Felix the Reaper.
Ooh, yeah, I've been really curious about that one since we saw it.
So I could talk just a tiny bit about Felix the Reaper. Like, so it's like, it's not a bad game. I think maybe like it might be one of those games that kind of starts off slow, but like, so basically, like, you're basically like almost like playing death. Like, you've got to, like, you kind of take this elevator into a scene where someone's about to die, or something is about to die, or like something, something's gonna happen, but everything's frozen. So nothing, no one in the scene is moving except for you, and it's like it's set up in like block spots, so you can kind of count how many spots you need to move to, because so what it is your character can't be in the sun. And so you can you can change the time, like the time of day, almost like where it will, so the shadows from the sun will change when when you push the button to change it. And so then the objects in world, like in your kind of little chess like setup, will change, when you change the time of the day, it will change which direction the shadows will be that you can then walk in or move in. And so basically what you have to do is you're constantly changing the time, so you can change the shadow directions and moving things to change shadow directions, so you can move to the characters or the things that you need to pick up and place in a position, so whatever, so things die, or so whatever. So it's kind of like it's a puzzle game, pretty much, with the mechanic of changing the directions of the sunlight to create paths that you can walk in without being in the sun. And like if you do switch it and you're in the sun, it will start start burning, like make a sound, like a crackling sound or whatever, but you don't die right away. It's all based on perfection, and then you get graded at the end of the run. So it's not like if you make a mess up, you're gonna die or something like that and have to start over. It's just it will downgrade you, and and then you won't get a high marks or whatever for certain things. And then there, like, it keeps track of time, so you can kind of try to beat your best time if you can move quicker, and without having to think as much, once you're used to how the puzzle needs to be solved or whatever. So it's interesting. Like, honestly, to me, it almost feels like a mobile game. Like, I could definitely see this being turned into a mobile game. And like I said, it's not really a bad game. It just, like, in the beginning, at least, it kind of was like I'm hoping maybe they have more mechanics along the way or something that they use, but it just kind of seemed boring in that way, that it's just like kind of all you do is you change the time, and that was it, and like move things.
I mean, that sounds interesting enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't like I have to play it. It was like, oh, that game actually looks kind of interesting. So give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely, I think, if you like puzzle games, I definitely think it's worth a try, and I am gonna continue playing it some more and see kind of where, because there is an interesting story to it, like, kind of thing that's going on. Like, the guy that you play as, like, is he's dead or whatever, I think, already, is what they kind of imply, and he's got a crush on a lady who I believe is who is alive, and like the one character that you kind of talk to and stuff in the beginning is kind of just like, yeah, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna happen, like, you're never gonna be with her. And it's definitely, like, has some weird, like it's almost seems more toward, like, geared towards adults, because, like, I don't know, it's just it's kind of weird, like, the humor or the stuff in it, like, it, I don't know, I don't think kids would really understand some of the things that are going on and stuff. But yeah, I do want to play it some more, and but yeah, and Blazing Chrome is just your kind of your shoot 'em up kind of game, and River Bond is basically a Minecraft dungeon type kind of game. So